Hello, hello, hello. It's me again. We are 3 weeks out as of tomorrow from Legion Sports Festival. I don't think I can call it my first bodybuilding show or my bodybuilding debut anymore because if you can't tell, I've actually decided at the very last minute to hop into a local show tomorrow. Me and my coach were going to have me do a practice peak this week anyway. And the idea behind that is, he needs to know how my body responds to carbs and water following the check-in, the weigh-in, the depletion of preparing for the stage. Because, the depletion, I'm at below 1,600 calories a day. At this point, we've increased my cardio. I'm hitting about 800 calories a day on the bike. Like, I am in a deep deficit. And the deep deficit is great for losing fat, but it also drains, it drains you of glycogen, and so the muscles get flat. They don't look good at all. But you do that and you maintain that through showtime to burn as much fat, to get as lean as possible. Well, once you're at the show, not physically at the show, but like once you arrive schedule-wise at the show, obviously you don't want to be on stage looking flat. You don't want to be on stage looking anemic and like you're a prisoner of war. You want to look, big. So the point of the refeed and the reason he needs to collect some data, that we both need to collect some data on how my body responds to carbs and water, is because everyone's body responds a little differently, both in timing and intensity. And so what you want to do, the idea of the refeed for the show, is to restore glycogen, which is basically water in the muscles, but you don't want to restore water under the skin, the subcutaneous layer. So it's a balancing act. It's a very delicate, very precise restoration. And so I weighed in, I made height. I'm like right at 5'9", which is nerve-wracking. Because if I'm over 5'9", my weight cap is 202. If I'm under 5'9", my weight cap is 194. Now, with bodybuilding, you just want to be lean, like super lean. You're not as worried about your weight. But I'm already near the top of the weight in terms of muscle density and stuff for classic physique. With all my work clothes on and everything, I weighed 200, so I'm under the weight cap for 5'9". But if I'm 5'8", or up to and including 5'9", or so, 5'9" or below, my weight cap's 194. When I get super lean, when I'm like for Reno, that'll be doable with a small water cut. But like right now for this weekend, for this practice peak, 194, I could make it, but it wouldn't be pretty and it wouldn't be good data. Because, I started the week at 208 pounds. Cutting that much water weight is not good for bodybuilding because it affects the look. It affects how you look on stage. And so we determined if I wasn't over 5'9", I was just going to do open bodybuilding and that's it. We're just here this weekend for stage experience. We're here for the practice. We're here for the data collection. We want to know how my body responds. And we're not going to get good data if we force me into a division, even if it's the division that I want to be in. It's more about our data than about what the judges. I'm not here to win open bodybuilding. I'm not here to pursue a competitive, career in open bodybuilding. But for the purposes of this weekend, we didn't want to do a big water cut because we're not going to do a big water cut for Reno. We're not going to do a big water cut for Sacramento. But I made height, so this practice will be in my division, which is it's a little bit of a bonus. It's nice to be able to practice my division, do the classic physique mandatories and the sequencing and stuff, compete against other people in my division. So we made height, made weight, even with my heavy ass work clothes. Because they don't strip you down to make, as long as you make weight, you don't have to strip down. So you weigh in and close, and if you're over the weight cap, then you take your clothes off and try again. But with my work clothes, I was on weight. So immediately after making weight, I ate 2 eggs, 3 ounces of chicken, and 300 grams of rice. And it was cold. We didn't have a microwave. But as hungry as I am, it was my first time eating today, and I'm super depleted. I'm, very low calorie right now. It was amazing. The noises I was making as I ate that, it was an experience. And so now my next thing is a protein shake and some rice cakes. And then meal 3 is another 300 grams of rice and 4 ounces of chicken. I think that's it. Having about 5 ounces of water with each meal. I think it's visible on the camera, but I can't really tell. But I have gotten my base layer tan. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, I'll get another layer. That'll be the darker layer. So I'll really darken up tomorrow, and they'll also hit the face a little bit with the tan. But I got the base layer. That's why I'm in these satin pajamas. I'll be wearing these for the rest of the night through tomorrow. I got satin black bed sheets that have swapped out with my normal bed sheets for tonight. So I'm not getting the spray tan all over my bedding. And so 3 weeks out, but also 1 day out. We're gonna get some stuff recorded tomorrow for my practice run. That's also what the facial hair is going on for. I'm not doing anything with my hair abnormal right now. It looks fucking crazy because I worked today, and I work in clean rooms. So I had the hairnet, and I'm in a super dry, humidity controlled room, and so the hair there was nothing to be done today. But we will be doing something with it tomorrow. What exactly, I don't know. I can't shower. The water cannot come into contact with my body for the next 24 hours. But I will, I got the hair product. Either my coach or my girlfriend will help me get the hair dialed in once the second layer of tan is done. And then this is the look that I'm going on stage with. I don't know what we're going to document as far as the process goes. I want to document. The whole point of starting this YouTube channel was to document the process as much as possible. So if I go into a practice show before my big debut and I don't document anything, that would be wasteful and kind of counter to the entire point of me talking to you right now. So we'll see what we can get documented. Obviously, the focus is going to be on performing, and I'll get pictures, videos, all that stuff of the professional, photos and videos of the routine, of the posing and everything. But I'm going to try and get, some backstage, I'll probably have my coach hold my phone, hold on to my phone for most of the day. He'll be backstage with me. And so, maybe we'll be talking or have him, video me, using the resistance bands to get the warm-up in. Not the warm-up, I'm thinking strongman still, the pump-up, basically. Doing little resistance band exercises to pump the muscles up. Similar to when you get a pump when you're in training. Obviously when you're at the gym and you're lifting arms, your arms look better than they normally do for, an hour. You're recreating that intentionally as you go up on the stage. So it's not a workout, but you're just stimulating the muscles in a way, and enough to get a pump. So pump up the shoulders, pump up the biceps, triceps, maybe pump up the legs. I don't know. I'll just kind of be doing whatever he tells me to do. We're gonna be eating good, not eating good like a normal person might think, like junk food and snacks and sweets and stuff. There will be some of that, but I mean eating good compared to the 1550 to 1600 calories I've been eating every day for the last couple of weeks. So that'll be nice. I think we're starting my day with a thing of Pop-Tarts. I'm gonna have honey on standby for backstage, and we're kind of gonna figure all that out. And through the day, because there's prejudging at 9 a.m., which I'll be honest, I know maybe a little bit more than the average viewer watching this, but I don't even really know exactly the sequence and stuff. But the prejudging, I'm pretty sure is, I got and hit the mandatories by myself. Then I go out, they call us out in groups, and we all do the mandatories with the quarter turns and stuff together. I don't think you do the posing routine at all during the prejudging, the morning portion. Then there's a break. There's a break for you while other divisions, the men's physique, and all the women's divisions, the bikini, the wellness, all that stuff, they go and do their prejudging, and then it goes to finals, which is where I go out and do my routine. I think I do more Simon Says with the judges, with the quarter turns and the mandatories, and then they do like first call outs and stuff like that. And that's I believe first call outs is typically the people that are going to be in the top, first place, second place, third place, fourth place, whatever. So it's not like an official ranking, but unofficially it kind of tells you who's in the running to win. And so during during that portion they'll do the call outs, have everyone do the mandatories, the quarter turns, whatever, and then you find out who the winner is. That is my loose understanding. I've been to 2 bodybuilding shows ever. My cousin Shannon did a bikini competition in 2016 when I was getting out of the Navy. I went and watched that because even though I wasn't into bodybuilding at that time, it was the only other person in my extended family that was doing something in the strength world, so I had to go out and support that. It was cool, but I didn't really understand what was happening. Then I've been doing bodybuilding myself the last 14, 15 months, whatever it is. So I went and watched my roommate compete at a show. I don't even remember where it was. It might have been down this way somewhere. But he did a show, and I went out and watched that. And I was paying more attention to learn, but I have a bad memory, and I wasn't taking notes or anything. So this is just my best vague memory of how it went when I watched him. And he was in men's physique, so it's a little different. Like the poses are different, stuff like that. So it wasn't all applicable to what I was doing anyway. And when my division was going at that show, I was talking to some of the vendors that I'm friends with. So that is my general rough understanding. It might be a little different than that, but generally that's how it's going to go tomorrow. And so yeah, it's 4:30 in the afternoon right now. So around this time tomorrow, excuse me, I will be done with my first bodybuilding show. I'm gonna miss my turn talking to the camera. Be done my first bodybuilding show, and we'll know how I did, and I will officially be a bodybuilder, which is kind of cool. The last time I've competed in strongman and in powerlifting even since starting this bodybuilding thing like 15 months ago. But and it's all been like for fun. Like I went to Singapore and did the Extinct Games, fantastic show. I did it as a super heavyweight. That was for fun. I jumped into a powerlifting meet with no prep. That was just for fun. I did put some effort. I didn't train for it, but I did put some effort into being strong and stuff for EFI Limit Breakers last February. But the last legit show I did with a full prep and with every intention to do my best and everything was Worlds 2024. So this was December 7th, I believe. 2024 was the last time I really competed in strongman. So I've kind of been just having a time and immersing myself in this world for quite a while, and I haven't done this competitive thing to this intensity in a long time, and it's nice to get back to it, to be honest. It wasn't so nice to get back to water cutting for the first time. Even though it was a baby water cut, I was 208 at the beginning of the week, and I weighed in, like I said, at 200. I'm probably about 197. Well, I've started eating. I was probably about 198 when I weighed in, if I had taken my clothes off. So not a big water cut, but a water cut. And I definitely didn't miss starving and dehydrating myself. It's just, even doing it to a small degree, it's just not fun. But it's part of the game, and so we play the game the way the rules are. But it is nice. It's nice to get back. I'm excited to step on stage. I'm excited to learn, to get some feedback from the judges, to get some feedback from my coach, to learn, the process, to go through the process, to, put a competition, put a show under my belt, and say, yeah, I'm a bona fide, bodybuilder now. I'm excited for all that. And then I'm excited to get back into prep right away and do this again in 3 weeks out in Reno, Nevada. And that'll be like a really big competitive sports expo. That'll be a fucking experience. I'm very excited for that. And then 2 weeks after that, I come back here and again, kind of locally at a bigger regional show. I'll be back at it again. And that third show, so the Reno show, I'm excited for because it's my real debut. Like that's the target bodybuilding show that I'm doing. I'm excited for Sacramento because that'll probably be the best version of myself of these 3 shows because I'll have had the most time to lean out. I'll have had the most practice with posing. I'll have had the most feedback from the judges. I'll have had the most data collected between me and my coach on, how I do the refeed, how I do the depletion, like all these different things that we're observing and taking pretty objective, technical notes of and information on. We're going to have maximal information. So I'm like each one of these 3 things I'm really excited about for different reasons. Obviously tomorrow I'm excited because this is my first actual bodybuilding show. I'm excited to get out there and see what I can do and see how, go up against my peers and get officially judged and learn how tanning works. I'm basically learning the ins and outs and learning the ropes of all the different things that you don't think about. And the way I compared it, I was asking my coach, I was asking my teammates, and I've got a lot of good advice from them too, about like what are the kinds of things not that a bodybuilder thinks about, but that a brand new, never competed bodybuilder might not think about, like pitfalls and things. And the way I compared it to was like powerlifting, where some brand new powerlifters don't know that you need to sometimes bring your underwear to the weigh-in because they might check that because there are rules on underwear. Some powerlifters brand new don't think about deadlift socks. If you walk out to the platform ready, weights loaded, and you don't have socks that go up to your knees, you get disqualified. It's a hard rule. And seasoned powerlifters know these things because it's automatic. They've dealt with it so many times. But brand new ones, as a powerlifting coach, that's the kind of thing I have to remember when I have brand new lifters, to remind them of that sort of stuff because they're not thinking about it. And a lot of times they're thinking about their commands, but they've never lifted with commands. So even though they're thinking about it, when they're all like nervous and excited and they get up there for the first time, they don't follow the commands. They do their opener squat, and I've seen this so many times. They do their opener squat, and before they get the rack command, they put it back in the rack and they lose the lift. That's a disqualifier. And so I said that's the kind of information I'm looking for right now, because there's all the stuff that you guys think about and have to be conscious of all the time because you've been, because you've been doing this, there's things that you don't even think about that are going to be that same thing for me. And so, yeah, I'm here to make those mistakes. I'm here to get that learning. I'm here to get that understanding of how this all works so that when I go to Reno, a lot of it is more automatic for me. A lot of it is more familiar to me. So that when I'm in this really competitive space trying to do my absolute best, I'm not also learning ins and outs and making, stupid mistakes. I'm not messing up my tan. I'm not, all these things. I mean, right now, last night you have to shave all your body hair for this, which is interesting. But I didn't even think about getting my back. I texted my coach and I was like, yeah, it's difficult. I'm having to go use the mirror and stuff. But I've got my glutes and hamstrings shaved pretty smooth. So we're good. He's like, well, I thought, it's not that I don't think you can see back there, but how are you physically reaching your back? And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about my back. Now, fortunately, my back is by far the least hairy thing on my body. I don't have a lot of body hair, and the body hair I have is pretty light. So I already don't have a lot to worry about. But the lightest is my back. So the back, it's not an issue. For Reno, we do have to go back there, and even if it's just getting a little bit of peach fuzz off of there, we got to go do that. But for here, because it's practice show, these are the kinds of mistakes, these are the kinds of lessons that I'm attempting to learn before it really matters, if that makes sense. But anyway, this one's too long, so I'm going to cut it here. I'll do another vlog next week at 2 weeks out. But yeah, that's exciting developments. I wasn't really keeping this a secret necessarily. This wasn't in the plan at all. This really, I think I signed up for this two or 3 days ago, and decided to sign up for it right before I signed up for it. So this was very much a last minute, like, hey, and the whole thing was I walked into the gym and I got a buddy competing tomorrow. And the whole conversation was, hey, I'm doing a practice peak this week, so I want to come out and watch you compete, but I got to make sure that it's not going to mess up what my coach has planned, like, food timing, food, like, making sure I get the right food in, because the practice peak has to go off perfectly. And somebody else that was there, my old roommate, was like, well, hey, if you're in a practice peak and you're going to be there watching, why don't you just step on stage? And he was half joking, but I thought about it. I was like, if I am practice peaking, like, the plan was to go to the gym tomorrow with my coach, go up into the posing room and do a pretend bodybuilding show. And we would have done a full peak and a full refeed and all the things that you do for bodybuilding. The only thing that we weren't going to do for tomorrow was the tan. But everything else was identical to this. And this is a local show. So really, it wouldn't have made a lot of sense not to do it. I'm lean. I'm ready. But the posing has gotten really good. So it just made sense. And so I thought about it after he said that. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I signed up a couple hours later. I went and did my workout, and then when I got home, I signed up. So that's where we're at. We're going to see how this goes. What is the thing? YOLO. You only live once. So we're going to do it. And I'll update you in next week's vlog, and there will probably be a separate video just for, hey, how is the day of the bodybuilding show, how to go, how does it work, type of stuff. The behind the scenes. That's the phrase that I was looking for. So that's what we'll do. And yeah, until then, I'm probably gonna cut some of this out. This is 22 minutes. That's insane. All right, see you guys later.